Hi and welcome to this video on how to stop being a nervous passenger. And being a nervous passenger, yeah, sure, we've all done it occasionally. Turned into a nervous wreck when someone else is driving the car, and sometimes it's justified because, after all, not everyone's a world-class driver. But when your first reaction is to constantly hit that imaginary brake, you know you're a fully fledged nervous passenger. So what can you do to calm your nerves? How can you stop being a nervous passenger? And, well, start with a reality check. If the person who's about to drive you is a reckless driver or isn't in a fit state to drive a car, then you've got every reason to be worried, and you probably should turn down the offer of that ride. But when their safety record's good, or at least no worse than yours, then you need to find a way to calm down and start with your breathing, because chances are when your nerves start jittering, your breathing gets shallower. Focus on taking deep breaths and then holding them for slightly longer than usual, and then exhale slowly as well. This exercise alone is a good way of calming your nerves and stopping you worrying about every small variation in speed or course of the car. And the next way is to relax, to distract yourself without distracting the driver, and that could be as simple as switching on the radio if you and your driver share similar tastes. It's relatively easy to become engrossed in music or a chat show or a sports event, and if you concentrate on actively listening to whichever show you both agree on, then that can be a good way to take your attention away from being worried about the driving. It's a bit like distracting a dog by waving a stick around, and sure, we'd like to think we don't change the focus of our mind that fast, but we've got a lot in common with our four-legged friends. And if radio isn't an option, think about putting your headphones on instead. It's the same kind of logic as listening to the radio, but means you can become immersed in the tracks that are playing. Just don't sing along. You could even put on a chill-out track or one that's specifically designed to help you relax, and I've done that as a driver, but it works equally well for someone sitting in the passenger seat. Then do a test drive with an understanding driver at a quiet time of day when the roads won't be too busy and you can chat about the feelings that come up as the journey progresses. Finding a driver who's understanding may take a bit of effort, but it's well worth doing. Ask around your friends and family to find out whether there's anyone who would be patient enough to help you reduce your nervousness as a passenger. And if your nervousness, get my words right, if the nervousness is the result of an accident you've experienced, that can be awkward to overcome. The circumstances of the accident will likely loom in your mind, and it's not uncommon for people to relive the scene every time they encounter a similar situation. If it's not too severe, then a hypnosis download is certainly worth considering, and if your condition is such that you almost can't get in a car as a passenger, you should certainly seek out personalised help locally. Trauma of any sort can be a problem to deal with because our minds learn fast in order to protect us from future harm. Essentially, our mind creates a shortcut that we use when something similar happens, and in this case the shortcut is to turn into something close to a quivering wreck at the thought of sitting in the passenger seat of a car. NLP, neuro-linguistic programming, has a technique that deals fantastically well with that kind of problem. It's called the fast phobia cure, and it works on any fear or phobia, including being a nervous passenger. And you either meet with someone local or play yourself a guided track that gently leads you through the whole process in a handful of minutes. I've used it on people and I've seen it used on a lot of others when I was at a conference. It's impressive due to the speed it works at and the really high success rate it achieves. As I said, I've used it on people, and at the conference we touched on all sorts of typical fears: snakes, spiders, heights, that kind of thing, and in under an hour went from people who couldn't be in the same room as a spider to letting it walk all over them. Literally. It works for absolutely any fear really fast. Sometimes being a nervous passenger stems from your need to be basically a control freak. Not being in charge could be the trigger that turns you into someone who wants to outguess their driver at every move, and this isn't always as easy to deal with. You need to work on changing your mindset, which you'd likely have done already if it was easy. A shrink is expensive and probably overkill in this situation, so a lot of people turn to the idea of hypnosis to help them adjust to being a more regular car passenger in the future, rather than someone who wears out the carpet and the passenger footwell pumping on that invisible brake pedal that just refuses to work. Hypnosis is a good way of dealing with this kind of fear, as it can tackle the parts of your mind that are tucked away from everyday use. The rules you live your life by, as well as all the small details that allow you to live a normal life without having to think how to breathe, how to beat your heart, that kind of thing. Your nervousness as a passenger is almost certainly deep-rooted, and hypnosis can help by digging around the recesses of your mind and changing your overall approach to the issue. It might take a few days or weeks, but gradually you'll notice that you're less worried when you sit in that passenger seat. And click the link below this video to download a hypnosis track that will help you quickly stop being a nervous passenger. It works really, really well. So click the link now and, well, start stopping. Thanks for watching.